Hi, this is Rebecca Ricks. I'm here with the Homeschool Connection in Winter Haven, Florida, and we focus on individualized exceptional education. And I'm broadcasting here live with our vlog, What's Your Brew? And a brew is a mix of events, people, or things which interact to form a more potent whole. So we here at the Homeschool Connection would like to be a part of the events, people, and things that help you and your family make a great cohesive whole. And also, you know, it would not be much of a brew if we did not have our coffee here. And I do have to share because this is a really awesome cup of coffee today. It's an exceptional cup of coffee. I have to share what I'm drinking. It is 8 o'clock decaf. I know, which really does suck my will to live. But it's special because it has, if you're not a big decaf drinker, and I can usually tell, but this is decaf with chamomile and lavender. I know it sounds weird, but it is so yummy. It is a great, makes my heart happy, just a little bit. It's good. So 8 o'clock coffee with chamomile and lavender. It sounds like it would be a weird mix, but it's got some yumminess to it. So you have to try it out. I'd also like to kind of point out my awesome background for today. This is, I thought that I would try to show off some of our building each time that we go live. And this is actually in one of our offices. And there's a really cool story about these windows behind us. They're actually from, they were redoing, I was there when they were bought, but I can't, like, you know, take credit for them. But here locally, they were redoing a house for HGTV, and they were throwing these away. We bought them at a friend of mine, our office manager, bought them at a antique shop. So that's kind of cool. So I love these windows. I think they're cool. And this right here is a picture of my grandmother when she was little. Just kidding, it's not, but it would be cool if it was. They're just some old pictures. So we're going to try to kind of go from some different places every time we live stream, kind of show off our building and some cool stuff that we have. So today we're doing Florida homeschooling and what do you need to know really to start homeschooling in Florida. So one of my biggest pet peeves is that our local, our state here in Florida, our FPEA, our state organization, has this huge convention, but none of their keynote speakers are from Florida, and so they really don't talk specifically to our area and about Florida homeschooling. So on our vlog today, we are also going to have a list for several of our closest counties of things we're talking about. I think we're going to have Polk, Osceola, Orange, Sumter, probably Lake County, I think, is on there, where you can go on and see, and also the state website, the State Department of Education website, where you can really go on and see exactly what you're looking at and what you're looking for. So I guess the main thing to know is that, you know, when you homeschool in Florida, there are some things that we do need to do and some paperwork we need to fill out. So there's a couple things you can do when you first start, okay? There's a couple spins on this. There's a couple people who want to do different things. First thing you can do is you can register with your county. Now this is our Polk County, and there are logs on the website or on the blog. There will be links for these different counties and the state one. So this is, I live in Polk County, so this is Polk County's, this little packet. It's got all our rules and laws in it. I guess the first thing you need to do if you decide to homeschool and you've decided this and this is what you and your family want to do, there is this awesome form right here. It is called an intent to homeschool. All right, just one little page, and you fax it to this person here. I always recommend that you fax and email because I really think that at the end of the fax machine over there that there is a trash can, because stuff gets faxed over and it gets lost a lot of times, especially with some other paperwork that gets notes, and you'll be like, but I sent it. So I would fax and scan in a copy and email it. And this basically says that you want to establish a homeschool program, that you are going to be a homeschooler. Okay, so when you do that, you are actually registered with our public school here in the county or whatever county you're in. You are registered with the public school and considered a public school student. You're homeschooled. You can do your own thing, but you register with the public school. Even if you decide to go the other route, which we'll talk about here in a minute, an umbrella school, even umbrella schools have to turn their numbers in to say how many students they have. They're supposed to every month. And as a public school student, you are responsible for all the services that the public school provides. So this is the list of people here in the front. We have a Secretary of Home Education. We have a social worker if you need that, a coordinator for school counseling elementary, psychological services, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. We have 12 full-time people that work for us in the county. 12 full-time people that just do homeschool stuff for us in our county. So in Polk County, there's about 7,000 registered homeschoolers. The last time I checked the number, someone asked a question, when do I think I should, Miss Cassie asked the question, when do I suggest you send that letter in? I usually, August is fine. You have a whole year from when you send your letter in to when you have to send your evaluation, which we'll talk about in a minute. But you can, August is fine. The start of school and just knowing that at the end of the school year, you have to turn your evaluation in, which we will get to in a minute. So to start homeschooling, you just really submit that to the county and say, I'm starting to homeschool. Now, there is a separate option, which some people like to do, and you can do whatever you want, whatever makes your heart happy, however you feel about it. You can be part of what is called an umbrella school. Okay, an umbrella school, basically they are not a homeschool student. They are a private school student. An umbrella school is a school that you go to, that you attend, that you do not have to be physically on their campus to attend. So we have been able to do that. Now, this is my opinion, and you can't, sell potatoes on my opinion. This is how I feel about it. You can go through an umbrella school, and there are people who like to go through an umbrella school because they don't want the county to know that they're homeschooling or for whatever personal reason. But they're usually kind of expensive. Not super expensive, but you're going to spend about $300 a year. If you wish to do that, that is fine. They hold your records, and it is like you are going to a private school. So if you merge back into public school, or it is like they were never homeschooled. They went to a private school. Now here's the part. In North Florida, it's getting a little sticky in some parts because if you go to an umbrella school that does not keep good records, you could kind of be in trouble. So if you go with an umbrella school, they are supposed to have everything that a regular private school would have. Shop records, a record of your attendance, medical records, all those different things. And you can sign off that you don't want to send your shop records in or your medical records in, but you are specifically, as a private school student, required to attend school for a certain number of days. And there are some sticky situations in North Florida where people were required to prove that they attended school for that certain number of days, that certain number of hours to get credits for classes. And the school wasn't keeping correct records, and it just kind of got all sticky. So that is really up to you. There are some very great, reputable ones that have been around for a really long time, but there isn't umbrella schools that have been around for a long time. So kind of do your research on that. If you choose to go through an umbrella school, make sure you use one that's been around for a while, that knows what they're doing. It's very, very easy to start one up, just a couple pieces of paper really to set it up. So not really hard to do, so anybody can kind of do it. So just make sure you're with a reputable one that's been around for a while. We personally here are not an umbrella school because I personally think that it's a little sticky, and for what we do, we have not chosen to become an umbrella school. So you've decided that you're going to homeschool. You've submitted your paper to the county, and so mostly today I'm just going to go over stuff that we would do to a county. According to the homeschool, there's the regulations, and you can go through and read that. There's options in the law about you can do it with a tutor, a full-time tutor. There are different things that you can do. Now, the first thing you're going to need to do is, once you've done a notice of intent, then you're going to have to start what is called, in Florida, we call it a portfolio. Okay, so lots of different things on information on what a portfolio is. A portfolio is basically a record of what you have done for homeschooling. So here is my biggest suggestion on that. Get yourself a file box. And if it is elementary school, you're going to do lots and lots and lots of papers. Throw those papers in there. If it is high school, you're going to be doing curriculum or books that you do, throw it in there. There are some people who get crazy and they want to record every book that they've read and put it on a list. You don't have to do that. That's fun for you to do, so you know what you have read and what you haven't read. Now, there's two different things you can do. You can either do testing or you can do a portfolio review. So on this fancy piece of paper here, on the second piece of paper in our Polk County packet, it has home education program evaluation. So it's this little piece of paper, a home education evaluation. And again, we will put links to these in the blog on our website that you can see it. And there are 5 different ways that you can have this piece of paper done. You can have a portfolio review by a certified teacher, which we will talk about here in a minute. You can have a nationally normed test taken by a student and administered by a certified teacher, which we do offer here. I recommend that you do SAT 10. I like SAT 10s because when they come back, it gives you a specific number. 10.5, 10th grade, 5th month in math, 7.3 in reading 7th grade, 3rd month, post-high school if they're advanced. So really you can use whatever you want to, but I usually, that's what we like to use here. There's also Terra Nova, which is a test out of California. A lot of the western states do. SAT 10's been around for a long time. A lot of private schools use it. Public schools that are not Common Core states use it. Iowa uses it. The Dakotas use it. So it is a nationally normed test. You can do a result of a state test assessment. So if you would like your child to take the FSA, the Florida State Assessment with them, they can. Now, warning on Take the Florida State Assessment. There are 3 parts to the Florida State Assessment. They get tested 3 times. The beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year. There's 3 different benchmarks they have to hit specifically for elementary school students. For high school students, they have EOCs. They also have FSAs for writing and reading. There are certain things to do. So it really just depends on what you want to do with that. So you can take a state test. It says student evaluation by an individual holding a valid license in psychology, or superintendent agreement for other valid measures. PSAT, SAT, ACT scores, grades earned through dual enrollment, classes taken at public school. So if you have a specific superintendent parent agreement with someone in your county, you can also qualify that. So basically, when we redo that, there's basically two separate ways. You can do a portfolio review with a certified teacher, or you can do some sort of test, a state test, or you can do like a SAT 10 test, something that you would normally give to a private school student. Okay, so you don't want to do the testing for whatever reason, fine. You know, there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's. This is why we homeschool, so you get to choose whichever one you want to do. So if you decide to not do testing, then you can do what's called a portfolio review. So you can get as crazy as you want with your portfolio. You can get as detailed as you want, but really a portfolio is going in with a certified teacher and showing them what work you've done. Going in with a certified teacher and them kind of doing maybe a reading test, seeing where their math is, kind of checking where they are. This is our 5th year here. In our 5 years, we have only not signed one portfolio review because the law specifically states that that the child has progressed at a level they were from the level before, and they can be promoted to the next level. So really, if the child has progressed from last year, then that is all that they want to say, is that someone has progressed from last year. The only reason we did not sign one, it was a middle school girl, and from year to year, she did not have a special need or anything special. We had evaluated her 3 years in a row, and she was still doing lower grades than she was supposed to. Her mom was wanting to put her back in a public school, and I, in good conscience, couldn't say that she was on that grade level for her to go in. There was no way she was going to struggle. So I wanted to make sure that we just didn't sign off that she had progressed over those past few years with our name on it. So that was a special situation, and I did talk to our superintendent of schools about that and have that taken care of. But really, it just needs to progress. So if you have a student that is special needs and they have progressed from last year, yes, we can sign off on that as a certified teacher. If you get the 2-week letter, I call it the 2-week letter. In our county, you get 2 weeks. So from when you send your letter of intent, 2 weeks before, a year later, this piece of paper, your evaluation is due. And you will get a note. Sometimes you get panic, I call it panic mode note, that says you have 2 weeks to turn in your evaluation, or everything is going to go crazy. So then we get people call us and they need an evaluation right now with the teacher, or teacher evaluation. But I usually suggest you fill out your intent in August, and you just know that the end of your school year, whenever you end, May, June, July, when you kind of wrap up your curriculum, then you're going to want to go ahead and send this evaluation form in. Okay, let's pretend you no longer want to homeschool. You are going to go back to public school. There's kind of a process for that, but there's a form for that too, because it's a government thing, so of course there's a form for that. So this is your third form that you kind of have. It says notice of termination of home education. You would send that in if you were no longer homeschooling, if you were going to go into a private school or into a public school. And on Thursday, I'm going to talk a little more about that, like what specifically a private school or public school would want from you if you decide not to homeschool anymore and full-time go into a private school or public school. Just to make sure that you are on the right page and you kind of have what you want for that. So that's kind of it for starting. Make sure you have a portfolio. You're supposed to, according to the law, that you make your portfolio available for inspection by the superintendent or superintendent's agent within 15 days written notice. So technically, your superintendent in your county can give you 14 days they can send you a letter and says in 14 days we're going to come evaluate your portfolio, according to Florida state law. Now, you are never required to show your portfolio without notice. A lot of people don't realize this, that you could just have to give it. They can, to make sure it's legal, but I have never heard of anyone ever getting a letter that says we have 2 weeks to show our portfolio or else. No one has ever had that. So, so you do have to submit your annual evaluation. There is a 2-year rule in the laws that you need to keep all your portfolio reviews for 2 years. I don't know, what is it, 7 years with taxes? 5 years? I usually say 5 years. But then that can get, if you have several children and you have a box for each one each year, that could get crazy. So by law, you're only required to keep 2 years worth of portfolios to review. But if you do testing, then it's just that one piece of paper that you have to keep, if you do a test, if you don't do a portfolio. So that's kind of where we are in portfolios and how to do them. Another thing I was kind of thinking of when you were talking about this is groups. So after you kind of started homeschooling, you picked your curriculum, we've kind of started what I really do recommend is that you find a good support group. There are different things. There are co-ops, sometimes where that they share the teaching. There are groups that just do social. If you are in our area in Polk County, we have 3 main groups. We have Hope Homeschoolers, which is out of Lakeland, and they have a great monthly meeting. You can go on their website and find some information, and they meet on the first Tuesday of every month, I believe. There is Lighthouse Homeschoolers. I don't really know very much about them. They meet on Friday mornings in Lakeland. There is Journey Homeschoolers, which is the only one I know that has a big Facebook presence. That's what I'm trying to think of. They have a big Facebook presence, and they post a lot of stuff on Facebook. They do a lot of meetups and different things like that, and they have a few classes. So those are kind of the main ones. Hope Homeschoolers is out, not Hope, Happy Homeschoolers was out of Lake Wales here in our county. I think that was a lot of younger groups, and a lot of times co-op groups will start up for a year and they'll be really strong, and then they're kind of phase out. So always, it's great to have a support with other people. You can go on and look for some support groups in Florida. I think that if you have any questions about this or anything that you weren't sure what we did, if you want to just leave me a comment here or on the blog on our website, www.thehomeschoolconnection.net. Thehomeschoolconnection.net is where our blog is. Also on the blog will be the links to these papers. I think we put links to 6 different counties, Central Florida counties, because that's where I am, and the state website where you can find all this stuff too, laws on homeschooling. If you have any questions on those, any questions or concerns about homeschooling, please give us send me a comment here. On Thursday, we'll be back to go over those, and then on Thursday, we'll be specifically talking about what do you need to do as a homeschooler if you are trying to go back into a private school or a public school, or if you want to do that, what would you have to make sure that you could do that? And it's a little different between elementary, middle school, and high school. So if you have a topic that you would like us to talk on and kind of hear and talk through and find some resources for it, we will be on our blog on What's Your Brew, and we're here to help you. That's what we want to do, and talk about homeschooling or educational needs if you have any other ideas. So I hope to see you Thursday morning at 9:30 at What's Your Brew, and hopefully you'll go try this awesome cup of coffee, and I hope you all have a great day. We'll see you hopefully with your comments and things at www.thehomeschoolconnection.net.